What's up, Ravens fans? It's time to hear from you guys. It's our weekly Ravens mailbag segment. Lots of good questions to us today from social media, so let's just dive right in. The first question today, Ryan, comes from Connor52 on Twitter. And the question is of Kamar Aiken, Brandon Williams, Rick Wagner, Kyle Juszczyk, and Terrence West. Who do you think gets re-signed this offseason? Well, let me just first preface this. Terrence West is a restricted free agent, so it's most likely he's going to be back. It's going to be pretty easy to keep him. But the other guys, What do you think happens with them?
Of the unrestricted free agents, I got to go with Brandon Williams. I think that he's priority number one for the front office. Even Eric DeCosta says, we have to make every attempt to try to re-sign this guy. I mean, he is a Raven. When you talk about a Ravens defender, he's tough, he's passionate. I mean, he's a team guy, he's great in the community, he's dominant at his position. First things first, you got to stop the run in Baltimore in defense. So everything about Brandon Williams screams Ravens, and I think they'll make a real attempt. Now, it's going to be an expensive attempt. You're probably looking around $9 million on average per year, but I think the Ravens will be a legitimate player in trying to re-sign him before he even hits the market.
And I think the other one too, Kyle Juszczyk, I'll be interested to see what kind of market there is for him. You know, I don't know that there's going to be a huge price tag on his services when you compare it to, there's not many teams. So if he goes out there, tests the market a little bit, and then finds out, hey, maybe the deal is just as fine back home, I might end up staying back in Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, the next question is from JG Camp, also from Twitter. And the question is, I understand Joe Cool, but doesn't Tom Brady's passion motivate the team more? We're talking about Joe Flacco's passion.
Wow, here we go. You got this one, right?
Yeah, have we heard this question before? Anything about his passion? Here's the thing. We hear this question, I feel like, every few months or after a bad losing streak, anything like that. And then every time we always say, what thing about Joe is that he is kind of the same guy. He's the same guy now as he was when he first came into the league. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low. That allows him to go into big moments and not be rattled and play some of his best football on the big stage. And he's done that throughout his career. So yeah, it's great. And I think fans love it. When you see Tom Brady, he runs out to the field and he's got 5 rings and he's yelling at teammates and all that stuff. And you say,
fist pumping with 5 rings. It comes with some extra emphasis.
Yeah, then all of a sudden you say, you know what? I want that guy because he's good because he yells. Well, that's not necessarily the reason why he's good. He's good for a whole bunch of different reasons, and I think that Joe is going to be the same person. He's not going to change for anybody, and I think that Ravens fans should be okay with that. I don't think that needs to happen.
Can I add this in? Everybody always wants to make the comparison to Tom Brady. Why isn't he like Tom Brady, or why isn't he like Aaron Rodgers? Joe Flacco isn't Tom Brady. He just isn't.
Yeah.
So we can all come to grips with that, or we can't. But he's the greatest of all time, and to expect Joe just to be the greatest of all time or second greatest of all time,
but it's
pretty unrealistic.
But here's my point with that. It's not the yelling that makes Tom Brady the greatest of all time. That's not the reason that he is.
I agree. All right, next question. Jake Harshman asks, why does everybody think we need a running back next season? We didn't run the ball enough this year to even see if our ground game is good enough. Well, I kind of disagree. I think that the Ravens didn't run it as much as they would have liked to, but I think they ran it enough to see what they had in the stable. And what they were missing was an explosive threat. I really like Kenneth Dixon a lot. I really like Terrence West a lot, who led the Ravens in rushing yards. But neither one of those guys had many explosive runs. We're talking 25 plus yards. That's where I think the Ravens could add a third running back. I don't think they're going to add, a mid-round pick, another guy kind of in the same mold. They've been kind of targeting those 4th-round running backs in recent years. I don't think that's the MO. If they're going to add another running back to me, it's going to be a very high draft pick. It's going to be a game changer like a Leonard Fournette, like a Dalvin Cook. I think that's where they could add somebody via the draft. If not, I think they have enough in the stable with Buck Allen right now where they could go into next season and feel pretty good about it.
All right, so that's all the time that we have questions for today. But as always, thank you for sending them in and keep them coming on social media. Use that hashtag Ravens Mailbag and we'll get more questions from you guys next week. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.